Okay, so I was
Not you, him.
Oh no,
Jack.
well my prescription
My prescription.
Yeah, you're going next. You're going next. Go, Jack.
Okay.
Oh, there it is.
So I worked at Doc Holliday's when I first came to Garrett County, and I went home late, but I also was working at the radio station. So let me see whether I remember this correctly. I finished a shift at the radio station, and I was on my way home at between 12 and 1
AM or PM?
a.m. after I'd stopped for a nightcap at Doc Holliday's, and I went through the outskirts of accident, and right at a nice bend in the road, a little left curve, I looked up as though I had come up from a dream, and there's a big horse in the middle of the road, and I slammed on my brakes, and I still clipped the horse's rear end, and I put a little dent in my truck, and
A little bit?
A little bit.
and
What happened to
had a broken headlight, and then I came home late, of course, because
the horse situation?
of the horse situation, because of
How did you deal with the horse
stopping.
situation?
We stopped, and
First aid.
we called the police, and I pulled over, and so it was after 2:00 in the morning when I got home, between 2 and 3, and Carolyn was looking at me skeptically, explaining to her that I had hit a horse. But then
Yeah.
the next day, she investigated and
Wait, she'll tell that part. Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, so
So
what do you remember?
okay, so what I remember is I
Can't.
was at home with this baby who's like a year and a half old.
This baby is holding the camera right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's
And,
step on back there. That's how you turn it on.
And he got off at noon, so he would go to the bar because they asked if
The baby would?
no, Jack would go to the bar after he got off at noon, at midnight I mean, and because the owner of the bar asked, because the barmaid was, a young girl, and she had to take the money bag to the bank to make the deposit, and he asked if Jack would mind hanging out at the bar. Oh, what a tragedy. And accompany her to the bank, and it just really annoyed the hell out of me. And so it's past 2:00. The bar closed at like 2. So I would give 45 minutes. He has to go to the bank, has to come back, and then it's a half hour home. By 3:30, I was beside myself. At 5:00, in he comes, and he's on the phone. I can hear him talking to somebody on the phone. It was the police. So I go downstairs, and I'm like, "What's the story?" "Oh, I hit a horse." I'm like, "Oh, right, you hit a horse." So he told me the whole story, how he hit the horse from the behind, and it broke the light on the front of his truck. And it was Emily, I forget her last name. Emily George's
Oh, yeah.
mare, and
Like
it didn't kill the horse, but
That's your cousin?
That's a cousin of mine. That's my grandma's first cousin.
she is Emily is
Emily
your.
George is my grandma's cousin.
I love
Her
her.
grandmother was a Frotz.
Anyhow.
Her grandmother was a Frotz.
Anyhow.
The next day I had to be in Oakland for some kind of teacher thing. So on the way home, I knew where Emily George lived, and so I come up to the turn. There's a curve in the road, and there's a guardrail, and Emily's house is on the other side of the guardrail. So I pull over, and I pull over to the shoulder of the road, and I look down, and there is a broken piece of headlight of his car, and there's skid marks,
You're like Scooby-Doo.
and then there is a big pile of horse shit. And I was like, God, it's true. I just stood there and I was like, oh my God,
trauma.
Yeah.
The horse
yeah.
had trauma poop.
Trauma poop, yeah. And I laughed and laughed and laughed. And I mean, years later, I told Colin, see that? See that guardrail? That's where the horse poop was, and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, he showed me yesterday.
He did?
Oh, yeah. Had a whole discussion. That's where my dad hit a horse, and there's horse poop, and
Yeah. And
yeah,
Emily,
right at that curve.
I've gotten to know Emily since then, and she never was able to ride the horse again, but they didn't have to put the horse
It was
down.
unrideable.
Yeah, because of Jack hitting
it
her.
live?
But she shouldn't have been in the road.
Basically took out his hamstring.
His
If
what?
They have one, a hamstring.
A horse.
Hamstring?
This.
His horse
Or a
horse ring?
glute.
Right.
His horse glutes.
A horse glute.
And she was
They
old.
needed to gallop.
She was old when it happened anyway, so.
Oh,
Emily or the horse?
Emily was
the
young.
horse, the
Emily
horse.
was very young.
Yeah, she was
And
young.
who's the barmaid?
Hey, get off my sweater.
Who's the barmaid?
Oh, that she wasn't the barmaid.
Who is the barmaid?
Oh, I don't know.
What's a witness?
What was her name? Was her
he
name like Leslie or something like that?
I don't know.
That sounds like a Leslie.
He didn't have Leslie in the truck when he hit the horse.
Oh.
Oh,
She drove herself home.
this is after the bank run.
Hey,
It's
listen.
after the bank run.